Hey everyone, welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. I'm your host, Jade Arena. What's the best feature you want in a car? Is it power windows? A deadly curse that'll kill you and your whole family? For me, I'm more of like a heated seats kind of guy. But if you're into killer four-wheel death traps, we've got a list for you with the top 10 cursed cars you should never drive. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell, and stick around for our top 3 because they're pretty famous. Let's get into it. Number 10, Archduke Franz Ferdinand's PHAETON. If you don't know who the Archduke Franz Ferdinand is, then you should probably play more World War I shooters. It was his assassination that started World War I, and his assassination took place in this car. It wasn't just that he was assassinated in the car, but that he avoided an assassination attempt earlier that day. He was on his way to the hospital to comfort the people who were harmed in the crossfire. On his way there, one of the assassins had stopped in a cafe to get something to eat, saw the Archduke passing by, and well, started World War I. Not only that, but the car was involved in 6 accidents and 13 deaths. Some people would die only months after owning the car. Number 9, John F. Kennedy's limousine SS-100. The whole world was stunned on the morning of November 22nd, 1963, as John F. Kennedy was assassinated on television. Something super strange about this navy blue Lincoln, it was upgraded with almost $200,000 worth of features, none of which were making it bulletproof or putting some sort of protective cover over top of it. However, after Kennedy was killed, the limo was kept in service, because you can't really blame a car for that. It was given all sorts of protective measures like titanium plating and bullet resistant glass. I guess hindsight is 2020. Number 8, Ghost Crash. On December 11th, 2002, police started getting phone call after phone call about a set of headlights running off of Britain's A3 highway. Crashes on the highway aren't unusual, but people stopping to find the car couldn't see it anywhere. So police went to go investigate. They found no recent crashes, but a Vauxhall Astra that had been covered in vegetation. It seemed the car had been there for at least 5 months. So whose headlights were people seeing drive into the ditch? My guess is it was a ghost who was like so tired of being stuck on the side of the highway and wanted to go to the funeral home so he could party with other ghosts. Number 7, Ghost Bus. It was a foggy night in London, 1934. A man driving normally when suddenly he swerved off as if he was trying to avoid something, crashed into a wall, and was killed instantly. Witnesses say there was nothing in his way to make him swerve like that. But legend talks of a ghost bus that roams the roads. It'll appear out of nowhere, look like it's going to crash right into you. It's said to be a big red double-decker bus that'll appear around 1:15 in the morning. People who've seen it say the bus will be coming right after you, and after it passes, if you check your rear view mirror, there'll be nothing there. It could be a real ghost bus, or just another reason not to do drugs. Number 6, the Black Volga. During the 1960s and 70s throughout Russia and Eastern Europe, people were terrorized by the myth of the Black Volga. The Volga limo was the most expensive car in Russia at the time, and they were specifically designed to hide the identity of the person inside the car. They had tinted windows, and if that wasn't enough, you could do that whole movie trope when you see someone creeping in your window from a distance like Because the car had such a secretive tone and was priced so high, rumors started speculating about who would be driving one. People would say it would be priests or politicians, other people said it was the devil himself. Conspiracy theories got so far that they say they saw kids get pulled into them, and if you touched one, you would die within 24 hours. None of these myths have ever been proven, so this might be a game of telephone that got out of hand. Number 5, RENAULT MEGANE. It's 2004 in Cape Town, South Africa, and you hear a roaring sound come from outside your window. You pop out to see what's going on, and you see a jumping car. Apparently 9 people saw a car start up on its own and start jumping backwards until it crashed into a fence. So they called the guys from Top Gear to have a look. No, they called the police. When the police arrived, they didn't believe anyone at all. They probably thought everybody was high. Then the car started up on its own again and started jumping backwards into a tree. Upon further inspection, it seemed the car had a rusty starter cable, which might have been the cause of the startup, but what was making it jump? Number 4, Bonnie and Clyde's Ford Deluxe. The original ride or die couple. Imagine meeting the one. I mean the one. Like they're so much into your stuff and you that the two of you team up and go around America during the Great Depression, robbing banks, killing cops, and looking on point while you do it. Bonnie and Clyde were two of America's most notorious criminals and somehow managed to keep a healthy relationship going while they were on the most wanted list. The two traveled around in a stolen 1934 Ford Deluxe, and on May 23, 1934, it would be their final resting place. They were ambushed by cops and shot more than 100 times in that bad boy. Now what happened to the car? Well, in a way, nothing. The car was kept exactly as it was the way Bonnie and Clyde died in. Every last bullet hole. You can go see the car now at Whiskey Pete's Hotel and Casino in Nevada. The reason it's on our cursed car list is because people who take pictures in front of the car say that they can see figures floating in the background. It's not just because two people got turned into Swiss cheese in the back seat. Number 3, the LIMOUSINE disaster. Now this curse isn't an ongoing horror that torments people for 100 years like the Chicago Cubs goat curse, but it was a massive disaster, one of the worst car wrecks the world of racing has ever seen. In 1955, driver Lance Macklin was taking his turn out of the pits and back onto the tracks. He was driving an Austin Healey 100. I'm picturing him rolling out on the racetrack in like a pair of motorized Healeys. Mike Hawthorne was coming in hot, driving a Jaguar D-Type and barely missed Macklin. Macklin swerved to try to steady himself and ended up in the left lane. He doesn't see Pierre Levay flying in behind him at 150 miles per hour. Pierre hits the back of Macklin's sick Healey and goes flying into the crowd, killing 81 people and injuring 120. You don't have to worry about that happening today if you go to car races. At NASCAR they got those nice nets so you can eat liquid cheese and get a neck sunburn without dying. Number 2, James Dean's 550 Spider. What's a good way to be considered cursed? Kill one of the most beloved actors of an era. James Dean was an American heartthrob and badass who died tragically at age 24 in a car wreck. This bad luck racer was named Little Bastard. If you're gonna ride in something every day, maybe give it a nicer name. But it wasn't just James Dean that this car tormented. After his death, the car was purchased and brought to a shop for repairs. Then it slid off the lift and broke a mechanic's leg. After this, parts of the car were installed in 2 different cars. One driver died, one driver was seriously injured. Some people tried to steal the car once and they were both injured. The car doesn't even like thieves, it's on no one's side. The car eventually mysteriously disappeared while being transported. I'm sure it was stolen. The car that killed James Dean is probably worth millions and might have his sexy ghost inside it. And number 1 on our list is the 1964 Dodge 330. This car has been named the most evil car in America, more evil than the PT Cruiser or that man-eating Zamboni that I just made up. This car actually has a pretty wild story. It was originally a police cruiser and all 3 officers that were issued the car eventually committed suicide after killing their families. A car can't be evil, this has to be a coincidence for sure. After it served time as a cop car, it was sold to an old man. Nothing happened to him, but several people who vandalized the car, it didn't end well for them. One of them was killed by an 18-wheeler, several more were decapitated, and 4 of them were struck by lightning. Dude, when I die, I want to come back as an evil car so I can summon lightning. The car was later destroyed and the pieces were scattered so it could no longer summon God's wrath. But apparently someone bought all the pieces and reassembled the beast. Part of me wants someone to give this motorized murderer a self-driving upgrade just to see what happens. Just leave out like a talking GPS, it's an evil car from 1964, it probably only says racist slurs. That's our list. Make sure you write in your comments what your favorite cursed car or vehicle of history is. Like always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the little notification bell. I've been CLYDES. Until next time, make sure if you're buying a used car that it hasn't killed anyone, and if it has, get a huge discount.